Okay, I'm on a bit of a high right now. I just finished talking to my guest tonight, Rachel Pederson, who is an incredible social media marketing expert. She's a mother of three. She's a YouTube sensation. She has been teaching me. She kind of takes over where Jacqueline and Farnoosh left off with my with my education in regards to podcasting and marketing and all of that kind of stuff. I am so honored that she found the time to talk to me, because literally this woman is all over TikTok. She is all over YouTube. Her videos, I feel like she does like 10 videos a day. I don't know, it's just phenomenal and so educational, so helpful. I'm literally on a high. We just spent like, I don't know, 45 minutes chatting. And I really had to make myself stop, because I wanted to talk to her all night. She talked about how she and her husband work together and how that came to be, how she balances life with her 3 children, how she started off in this business, who are her influences, just love. I can't express any more love for this woman that just really just puts herself out there and really just gives so much knowledge away for free to anyone that wants it. Please enjoy the interview. Go to YouTube, subscribe to her channel. If you want to be inspired and pushed into really just kind of following your own dream, or deciding really to make that decision to follow through with a side hustle, or to even find what a side hustle might be for you, she is the woman to listen to. I'm floating on a cloud. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. Rachel Pederson. Thank you. And we are recording. Welcome to Living Out Loud with Loretta. My guest today, I literally have been stalking, I don't know, probably for the last 3 or 4 months. She's incredible. I will let her tell you what she does if you don't know already, which I'm sure you will. But my guest is Miss Rachel Pederson, the most incredible social media strategist, I guess, right? Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you so much.
I'm literally like this. Seriously. I heard you for now. This is how I discovered you. I think you were on a podcast, Jacqueline Malone's Go To Gal podcast.
Yes.
Now, the reason I'm even doing podcasting is because of Jacqueline and Farnoosh. So when I heard your episode right away, I was like on YouTube, and I like watch all your videos, your TikToks, your everything. You made it seem like it's something we need to, if you're interested, just go and bloody do it. All of your tips, absolutely, all of your advice, it's selfless and incredible. Please, how the heck did you get started doing all of this?
Oh my gosh. Well, first and foremost, thank you. And isn't Jacqueline amazing? We go back years.
I love her.
Oh my gosh. She's one of the only people, not only, but like one of those few people you get on a call with her or spend some time with her, and you leave and you feel like you just drank like warm honey water. Like you feel just so happy, and there's that beautiful glowy feeling. We go back like 6 years. It's crazy.
Wow.
So how do you get started? I love that question so much. One thing I will share, part of the reason that I think that we've been successful is because I show up when I don't feel like it. I show up when life is crazy. I show up when the baby has been sick all evening, and then I still have a live I committed to. But from the get-go, it did not feel like I had everything figured out. And one of the biggest things I realized was that I had to take a lot of imperfect action, and that a lot was going to, this is gonna be harsh, okay? A lot was gonna suck for a while. And there were so many times I put stuff out there and I was like, this just isn't as good as I want it to be yet. And it was that pursuit, just like learning a language, just like learning an instrument, which both I've done several times, where I wanted more than anything to be great. Have you felt that, haven't you? That desire, like, I just want to be great someday.
Yes. I don't want to fail. I don't want to put something out there that I'm not proud of. You just want to be your best.
Yes, absolutely. So it was that showing up when I felt like I don't have the best tips, or I don't have the greatest recording system in the world, which is funny because now I have all those things, and I still sometimes I'm like, let's just wear sweats and like record with like the torch lights and stuff. But
I love those. I love that. Like, I was literally
yes,
telling someone last night, a previous guest of mine who we're planning to do something else. I said, listen, I watched Rachel Pederson. She did it's like she's on Facebook and she's on Instagram, or she's two devices. I know that she's looking that way, and then she's looking over here. I'm like, oh my God, she's doing it. Just let's try and do it, because of you.
oh, thank you. But that was the biggest thing, was like just going and recognizing that there's no way to greatness. There's no way to legend. There's no way to mastery except for doing. And it's painful sometimes.
Okay, so just a bit of backstory. You did not start off being this social media incredible, just, I was going to say Svengali. I don't think that's the correct word, right? But you started off completely, like, doing a completely different industry, and then you tell, how did you end up? Basically, this is your side hustle, which is something that you're encouraging all of us to kind of either find or have the guts to follow through and maybe do something with it next year, right? Starting now or whatever. So how did you decide, okay, I'm going to sort of take this and try and do something with it?
I'll share how I found it, and then I'm going to share why I encourage it for a lot of people. And there's a really interesting reasoning behind that. So I was actually working full time as a hairstylist, which is partially why I'm like, oh my gosh, your hair, your makeup, you look amazing. I've got great standards for hair and makeup. This is not it today, but that is it. Like, well done. So I come from the hair industry, and it's a fascinating industry to work in. Now, I wasn't great at social media yet, but I would post before and afters. I was most known for curly hair, extension transformations, and dramatic color. Like, whew. So I would be the person who would take on black box dye and take it all the way to platinum over the season of a year. And so I loved doing those transformations. And one day a client sat in my chair and she said, Rachel, will you show me your tweeter? And I was like, sorry, what? We don't do that at the salon. And she's like, no, the blue bird. And I'm like, oh, Twitter. Of course you meant Twitter. So I showed her my Twitter.
Twitter, not your tweeter.
Right. And then I showed her, this is what I'm doing on Instagram. And I don't know how well it's working, except I'll post a photo, I'll show a gorgeous red transformation or these beautiful curls that we embraced for my client. I'll show the before and the after, and then people come in for more services. It just magically always seems to work. And so they hired me in a side hustle, though it didn't stay a side hustle for long. Pretty quickly after, I got the marketing bug and I was obsessed, and I knew, like, this is my thing. Have you felt that before, haven't you? That just gut feeling?
So listen, just listening to you when you talk about it in your numerous videos that you post on YouTube, and you've got like over 60,000 subscribers or whatever, it's fascinating, because you're just like, this is where I came from. This is what I did. I wasn't sure about this. You must have been there as well. You can do it. It's so encouraging. It's so encouraging to hear the way you speak, the way you teach without that. You teach by having done it.
Thank you. And the one thing I will share too, and I'm totally biased 100%, that everyone should take up a side hustle as a social media manager. And here is why. It is the hardest to market yourself. Absolutely, hands down, the most difficult to market yourself in your own business. And there was something beautiful I learned about marketing 6, 7, 8 figure entrepreneurs and businesses before I had a great business. I was able to trust that their products or their funnels or their system was in place, and my job was just to handle the social media. So I learned a lot objectively without having the emotions of, is my product good enough behind the scenes? And I was able to learn while working for someone else. And I think it's actually easier to market someone else than it is to market yourself.
Interesting. So, okay, so now, like, how did you realize that, okay, I've got a live that I've committed to, so I need to do it, or I want to make sure I post TikTok every day or whatever, and just even that whole thing of you, because I was learning with you, like TikTok versus Reels and how to, multi-purpose or whatever. I'm like, okay, so, and I'm talking to my daughter, she's 11. I'm like, listen, this is what Rachel says, so let's try doing this and let's try and modify it for this. Literally, you are schooling me, and I'm so crazy in love with all of your knowledge and how you're imparting it all.
Thank you.
Now, you work with your husband, right?
I do.
Now, I know in the beginning, that's not how it was. So can you just tell me the story of how it came to you actually accepting working with him?
Yes, I will be very transparent about the journey because it was not glamorous. At first, when I started the business, if you actually go back to some of my videos, you'll see that I was constantly saying, my business, my clients, my revenue. And there was very much so a my attitude about it. In fact, I have right here my first award for $1 million in revenue made, and it says to Rachel Pederson. No mention of anyone else, no mention of my husband. And it was actually the day I accepted this award, I was 9 months pregnant with my son, Dominic. And up until that point, I had really pushed away the notion of really letting my team in, but also working with my husband in any way. And I really kept him on the outside. What was interesting is as I held up that award and accepted that award by myself, I realized in that moment, I'm standing on a stage in front of 2,500 people. I feel so alone because I'm in the inside, but really I felt like I was on the outside of something beautiful with my husband. So that was a very low moment. And what's crazy is I haven't even finished applying for all the awards, but I look at my wall and every other award says Rachel and Paul. And I will never say my revenue unless I'm clarifying to someone that it's the business I built. But there was a shift that happened that day, and Paul stepped into place and realized he could step in where I was weak and support me because I was tired at 9 months pregnant doing it all myself. And it wasn't easy. And we had to go through therapy together to learn how to work together and overcome our own insecurities. But today we run two very different parts of the business. I run the front end, which is sales and marketing, being the face, speaking, etc. And he manages the back end. So hiring, firing, HR, contracts, billing, and making sure that our family is financially taken care of.
So what was your, if there was a motivation in the beginning when you were like, this is my thing, this is my baby, it was my concept, blah, blah, blah. I'm the one that's gone through the journey of realizing that this is what I'm doing. And I, turned it around and made it as big as it is. Was that more about just kind of holding on to your own identity, or what was it that sort of prohibited you or inhibited you or whatever, or stopped you from allowing, because he must have been helping along the way, right? But just not credited. Right?
I will say, I think up until that point we were running two kind of parallel journeys, and while we really loved each other, I think it was a good marriage at best, if that makes sense. It was good. By all standards, it was really good. But I think we'd gotten really disconnected from why we fell in love, why we met and got married 13 days later, why we were so excited to build our lives together.
Wait a minute. You can't brush that under the carpet. This is what I heard. Why we met and got married 13 days later. 13 days later, 1-3. Explanation. I need an explanation.
You got it. Would you like it in Spanish or in English?
No, because I won't understand it.
Perfect. So Paul and I met 7.5 years ago, and I cannot really fully explain what happened, except that the moment we met, we both walked away. Neither of us had ever believed in love at first sight or soulmates or anything like that. But we instantly knew this is it. And when we, about a week later, we were out at dinner and he looks at me and he's like, I'm in love with you. And I was like, I know, I feel the same way too. He said, and I think you might be my wife. I was like, I know, I think so too. And we initially that night, we were super broke, but we looked up flights to Vegas to see if we could elope that night. Thankfully, we didn't. But we told our friends and family, like, we're going to get married in 6 months. We've met our soulmate. Like, we didn't believe in this before. And everyone was so mad. They were like, you can't get married that fast, which, by the way, reasonably, I get it. If my daughter were to say this someday, I'd probably be super nervous. And I'd be like, can you just like get like a psych eval real fast and check some criminal, records and stuff? But the good news is, like, neither of us was crazy entirely with an asterisk, and neither of us was a criminal in any way. Like, everything was it checked out. But when everyone was mad, I was like, you know what? Let's just get married tomorrow. I was just going to wait for everyone else's sake. So on day 12, I proposed it. We went down to the courthouse, had the 5-day waiting period waived. And then that night we eloped at the Mall of America, the Chapel of Love. And 7 years later, we're still married. And now, today, our marriage represents what that whirlwind romance felt like.
Can I not only applaud you, but can I join I don't know how big the group is, but my husband and I, so we do work together. He's kind of more like my boss though, because my career here in America has been singing, whereas in England I was an actor full-time, working, came to America, thought, okay, I can sing a bit, let me get a job singing while I'm waiting for acting work. 15 years later, here I am doing mostly singing and now podcasting, which I love. But literally, he and I did. It was like, okay, yeah, this is it. And I had gone around. I'd done, I tasted a lot of fruit. So therefore, I knew that this was it. We did go to Vegas. I got on the airplane with curlers in my hair. We booked into the Bellagio that same night, got married at the little church on the west. When we came home 2 or 3 days later, all of our families were mad.
So we are living very parallel journeys. This is amazing. Oh my gosh.
Self-care is very important, especially these days. One of the ways I practice self-care is to make, drink, and sell my own ginger tea with some extra special added immune-boosting ingredients. How do you practice self-care? How the bloody hell are you balancing it all?
Oh my goodness. Okay, first and foremost, I read this amazing book by Shonda Rhimes, and she said, it's time that we all start being honest about the fact that we have help. And I was like,
yeah.
She goes into it. First and foremost, I have a full-time nanny. I have a full-time housekeeper. I want to put those things out there because I haven't done laundry in years. And so when someone else is comparing their life to me, I'm always like, you do know I don't have a 2-year-old screaming in the background. Sometimes my 6-year-old is here and she's loud and she likes to do karaoke while I'm trying to record. But my 2-year-old isn't here. I couldn't do the long hours that I do if he was here 24/7. So I want to put that out there. But then the biggest thing is, like, I have an amazing team. And then when it comes to what my role actually is, I'm clear about what I'm supposed to do and that what no one else can do. And I'm very proficient in getting it done quickly. I know this like the back of my hand. I get in, do my podcast, do my YouTube video, put all my content out there, plan some sales. We go fast every day.
You are teaching so many. I mean, I know I'm not the only one, but literally from watching you. Now, listen, having the help, basically, it's your village. So yes, your village, you are paying some of them. Some of them, it might be someone's mother-in-law, someone's mother, or whatever else.
Yep.
We have our village as well.
Amazing.
Haven't really needed a village since the pandemic, unfortunately, because I haven't bloody been out there working. But ordinarily, yeah, we all need our village. Now, the team aspect, like my 11-year-old daughter, so she now, because of you, so I'm trying to do more TikToks. She's the one doing the editing and doing whatever, because I can learn to do it, but it takes me forever. And I'm like, I can do content, like put me in front of the screen or in front of the microphone. I'll do that bit. The rest of the stuff takes me forever. She's great at it and she loves it. Okay, you do it. My sister, who's in Chicago as a soccer coach, she's like, Laurie, it's great. I can do it. I can do it on a webpage. I was like, fantastic. You do that. We all know what our jobs are. And this is because you have shown me that do what you're great at, excel at that. If you have other people, your team, because you talk about your team as well. So it's like, get the people that you know that can build all of you up, the whole brand, if we're going to call it that. I love that. You are teaching so many people, women in particular, not only to just go for it, but also, like Shonda says, let's be honest, we all have help. We're not super women, right? But kind of you are, because who was your inspiration? Who inspired you to kind of go for what you wanted to do?
You know what's so interesting? It changes a lot. And I feel like there have been multiple people that have inspired me along the journey. This is so weird to say, but I'm mostly inspired by legends in acting and singing. So I'm obsessed with Celine. I love Celine Dion. I obsessively watch every one of her interviews. Like, I can't stop.
She's wonderful.
Viola Davis. Oh my gosh. Right? She's amazing. I am obsessed with Meryl. And I watch all their interviews and I'm like, success leaves clues, right?
Meryl, who just does everything and is incredible in everything, and you're just like, how? And has her head screwed on and it's funny and just like,
yes.
Okay, go on.
So those are a couple people that come to mind. I'm obsessed with Les Brown. Les Brown keeps me going on so many days. Lisa Nichols.
Who is that?
Ooh, write their names down. Les Brown and Lisa Nichols, two incredible motivational speakers. Incredible. And their journeys, they're super transparent about their journeys. And so for the last 6 years, those are two people I've listened to on repeat. Like, I don't stop listening to them. It just keeps getting better. Back to Meryl, the one thing she said, so I'm 31. I had kids young at 21. I've been a mom for a decade, which blows my mind, right? Oh my goodness. And there are days where I'm like, I became a single mom at 21 and I had kids earlier on in life. I'm going to have a whole lifetime or two after the kids are grown. And Meryl inspires me constantly because she says, at a time like when most people wrote me off in my career, I discovered that after 40 is when women are offered really interesting roles. And that reminds me, I'm not in a rush. I can wait 9 or 10 years to go after some of even the bigger things that we have. This is a season when the kids are young. So I go back to her interviews all the time. I'm obsessed with Meryl. Can't get enough.
I love that, because it's the 21 having the babies, which is not uncommon. Like, there are a lot of females that find themselves in that position, whether there are ones that are going off and getting married at 21. I'm like, at 21, you don't need to know what I was doing. Well, I was starting drama school, but drama school and the pub around the corner, they went hand in hand, and the boys and everything. But it's interesting, just kind of the journey that our lives can take. And it doesn't matter when you get started, at a particular point or a particular aspect of life. It doesn't matter where you get started or when you get started. First and foremost, we're living longer. You know what I mean? And we really we're not, or we shouldn't feel restricted to one thing or one lane, or, oh, once I'm 40, that's it. It's over for me. No. You got to keep going. You got to keep going after doing as much as you can that fulfills you. That's one thing you said about the side hustle, like doing something that you really enjoy.
Yeah.
Like it's not a job then, and the side hustle that could turn into, you know, a huge, you know, money making venture for you, but doing the things that you love. So finding whatever that side hustle might be and pursuing that. I think is that the biggest issue that you hear from a lot of your audience, that like, I don't know what my side hustle is. How do I find it? How do I figure it out?
People don't ask that as much, but I feel like it's expressed in the lack of action. People get nervous or scared. And I'll be honest, I have a side hustle now. I'm writing books. So I've got several books started, and I consider it a side hustle because I'm like, this is not our main business, but this is something that in 12, 18, 24 months, we're going to start putting these out there.
What are the books about?
Oh my gosh, I've got a few. One is about all the things that people told us matter that don't, and that I wish I had known. One of them is about building a business when time, money, everything is limited. One of them is about becoming a freelancer and how to scale that business. So there's like a bunch, and I work on all of them at the same time. It's such a side hustle. It doesn't make any money. I'm building for the future with that. But here's the thing, you've got to try stuff, and you're going to try stuff and it's not going to go well. And that's okay. And that's a good sign. Oh, hey, I'm so glad I tried this, so I know it's not going to work. Like I tried starting a side hustle while running this business of a drop shipping e-commerce store. And you know what? It was terrible for me. It was a horrible fit. I didn't enjoy it. And so I'm so glad I tried that. But some people go down that avenue and they fall in love and realize, oh, this is my forever. Down the road, I'm probably going to create a business getting thrifted sweaters and like selling thrifted sweaters just for fun. Like, I think we all at all times can have side hustles that are hobbies that pay for themselves at times.
And so it's about being brave enough. And even if people think you're crazy, or other people that aren't brave enough to do it, look at you and go, you're crazy. How can you do that? It's not going to blah, blah, blah. There are so many other blah, blah, blahs out there. But just saying, I don't care what anyone else thinks or says. I'm going to pursue this and see, even if you sell to 10 people in your town, right? You know what I mean? It has to start somewhere, right?
And it gives us, I think, a different perspective in whatever we're doing. There's something so beautiful about drawing parallels, whether it's across side hustles, a main career, a hobby, a full-on business. For example, earlier this year, I started learning French, and learning French reminded me what it's like to just be terrible at something. Absolutely terrible. I was like, my mouth doesn't move in these ways. This is really hard.
Hold on, come on, let's hear. Okay, introduce yourself. Say, my name is Rachel, and I am a whatever.
Okay, je m'appelle Rachel. So je m'appelle. Like my accent's not great. I probably sound like a total American trying to speak it. I don't know how to say I am. I mean, je suis.
Je suis, oui.
Je suis une étudiante de français. Oh, did I do it?
Parfait, oui, très bien, mademoiselle.
French. Tu parles français?
Un petit peu. That's the extent of my French.
If
you can explain, I speak it just a little, and they go, oh. Then they speak to in English. You go, yeah. Thank goodness.
So when I started, though, I remember like even words like français, it was so hard. And even still today, I'm like, my pronunciation isn't great. We have to start somewhere. And so I love drawing parallels from starting something new or reading a new book, or, you know, going to Goodwill and finding a couple old sweaters that I know other people might enjoy. Like there's something so beautiful about finding the parallels across all of the different avenues of life. And I over romanticize the process.
What is your star sign? When's your birthday?
Ooh, April Fool's Day.
Oh, what is that? Taurus?
I'm an Aries.
Aries.
What are you?
I'm a Libra.
Ooh.
So although we are total opposite in signs, all of my serious loves, of which there've been 3, have all been Aries.
Ooh.
My husband, Aries, complete opposites, but literally, like, there's something about Aries. I don't know. I love the creativity. I love just how there's a humility as well. Like, you know, you're amazing at whatever, but you don't, it's not like you're out there going, yeah, I'm so great, I'm blah, blah, blah. No, you're just very humble. I find that just such a beautiful quality. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
love that.
I think you might be the first Libra I know. That's
Really?
crazy. Uh-huh. I don't have any Libras in my life. Wow. I'm gonna
Here's
have
the
to.
first.
I'm gonna
Here's
have
the
to.
first. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
good. Listen, I'm not going to keep you for much longer because I know, listen, you're not in Minnesota now. You're a Minnesota girl, but where are you now? Where are you based?
Minnesota.
Oh, you are in Minnesota?
Born, raised, live, but I travel normally quite a bit. so,
Normally. That's
so it
funny.
is freezing cold here.
I was going to say, are you snowed in? Are you like, is there crazy snow right now?
Not yet. I know it's coming though, because it just hammered the Northeast, but it's like 20 degrees today. It's cold. So that's why like I'm always wearing sweats when I can in the winter because it is cold here. But
And your chair's nice and furry. I've got a lot of
yes,
fur out in my, it's just cozy, right?
all the
Okay.
time. We're
So just finally, last thing, so that I
yeah.
don't keep you forever, because literally I want to, like, seriously, you don't understand what I've been telling your assistant. I'm like, listen, I just want to I just want to talk to her all night. You know what I mean? Like a cup of hot cocoa and just talk, like, and just, you know, bend her ear, get her advice. And, you know, I love, love, love watching you. You really are an incredible inspiration. And me coming into podcasting, you know, really just this summer, but loving it. And I'm trying to learn on the go, and you are like just constantly watching. I'm watching the videos, I'm learning from you, I'm laughing with you, and all of that. It's fantastic. So just to get back to the balance, because my show is all about how we as parents, be us male, female, both two male, two female, single, whatever it is, how we are balancing our pursuits as adults, including the pursuit of having a healthy marriage. How are you balancing that with being a great mother and the example that you're showing to your children? So you already said you have a village, which
Yep.
is one fantastic way. And I think a lot of people forget that
Yes.
that is essential so that you can create time for you to do other things. So what else would you say is integral to you balancing your life?
Oh my gosh. So this is gonna be big, and this will be helpful for anyone who's like, well, Rachel, that's great for you, but I can't afford a nanny full time. Totally get it. Find a couple that you trust that has kids and swap kids every other Friday so you get 2 built-in date nights. Even if you're like, and this is, by the way, this is one of my favorite dates to this day. We'll go drive around and just like go to a lake and go sit by the lake and look at the lake. If it's wintertime, we'll go drive in the fanciest neighborhoods in the state and just look and dream and have fun. But get that built-in date time. Find time for yourselves. For example, Fridays are always blocked off for me. I only take calls optionally. So like if I want to take a call, I can, but they're blocked off so that if I want to be like, hey, babe, do you want to just go walk around Target together? Or do you want to go on a walk? And we do that almost every Friday. We have a built-in date time. And then Paul also is relentless about making sure that there's a date time. But then here's a big thing for family. And if I could like, oh, this is going to have to go into one of the books because it's so big. One of the biggest things that I do is make sure that I'm off of anything that touches work when it's time for family time. So I block out family time. For us, 7 to 9 every evening is family time. And that sounds short, but 2 hours straight with family is actually really awesome. So 7 to 9 each evening is family time, as is every weekend. And I shut my office door, turn my computer off. I do everything I can to not need to touch it. And if I personally have one phone that's a work phone, and then a phone that's for normal use. And then people say, but Rachel, that's too much money to spend for 2 phones. Okay, totally fine. Just delete your social media apps at the end of each workday and at the beginning of the weekend, and you can reinstall them the next morning with no issues. I do this whenever I need to, but I ended up getting a second phone as a tax write-off just so that I could switch phones, still have the ability to text and call, but totally turn off work. That was a game changer, and my family has never been stronger since we implemented that rule.
And it's a real decision, like, this is, these are all important things in my life, and I need to dedicate time to all of them. Even the simple.
Oh man, I could spend all evening on TikTok, and I know it because I have. I sat down one night at 6:00 and I looked again and I was like, 9:00, what just happened? I lost family time because of the TikTok time portal. So I refuse to open TikTok in the evenings now.
Oh, it is a real thing. It is a real thing. It is a time portal. I agree. Yes. Oh my gosh, Rachel, this is like such an honor for me to get to chat to you like face to face and not just talk to you through my iPad while I'm sitting there chained to the kitchen island, because my younger one, my 6-year-old, is doing the remote learning. So is my older one, but she's kind of self-sufficient. She's 11. So sitting there all day, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, okay, let me put my headphones in and just kind of watch her and listen and take notes and whatever. Thank you for agreeing to, this is your Friday night, so I'm really appreciative that you have blocked time off to chat with me. Thank you. I will continue to comment on YouTube and try and slip into your DMs, just warning you now.
Just do it. I love that.
Thank you. Please continue to do what you do. You are really influencing and really helping so many of us out here. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you for the kind words, and thank you so much for having me. This was awesome.
All right, I'll let you go now. I'm going to go and do a dance in the hallway.
We'll talk soon. All right.
Good night.
Good night. Have a great weekend.
You too. A fabulous weekend. Stay warm.
I will. I'll try.
Yeah.
All right. Talk soon.
Bye, darling. Bye.
For another who needs another, don't want to spend a night on my own. Want to spend my time with a hot-blooded lover. I want to bring a wild girl back home. Looking for some hot stuff, baby, this evening. I want some hot stuff, baby, tonight. Give me some hot stuff, baby, this evening. Looking for some loving, give me some hot love tonight. I want some, I need to hear you. I want some, we need some hot stuff. I do too much dancing. I feel like I'm in Egypt. Older days Egypt. Okay, can you sing with me? Ha, 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 love. Ha, ha, ha. We'll change it to hot stuff. Can you sing? Ha, 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 stuff. Ha, ha. No, don't keep going. I want to hear them. Hear it. There was one non-shy participant. Looking for some hot stuff, baby, this evening. I need some hot stuff, baby. Baby, I want some hot stuff. Gotta have some loving. Gotta have some love. I want some hot stuff. Do you want hot stuff? Trying to be hot stuff,
Thank you again for tuning in to Living Out Loud with Loretta. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with a friend or several friends. Post a screenshot of this episode on your Instagram stories and tag me at Loretta Nakwacha. You can also watch this episode with a cold beverage on my YouTube channel. The link is posted below. Lastly, if you have the time, please leave a positive review on Apple Podcasts so that we can continue sharing stories, singing songs, and living our lives really out loud.